To the tone, please state your name followed by the pound sign.
About the Symphony processes that Amit had talked about for bringing up bug requests or feature requests, and also if you are willing to contribute to the Symphony platform itself, as well as go over what we have available in our enhanced widget library right now for you to use in 3.1, as well as some things that will be available by the end of the month. So first of all, for the Symphony consumer processes, the goal here is to make it as easy as possible for you guys to get what you need from us. So I'll go over in detail how you can walk through each of these different scenarios, them being the reporting bugs, requesting features, or even contributing features of your own. So for bug reporting, the first step that you would do is create a JIRA issue. There's a document on Confluence called How to Submit a Symphony Bug Report that you can go to get more information about a template to use in your JIRA bug issue. So for example, you would go to JIRA, and then in there you can click Create, set the project to Symphony, have an issue type bug, and then for each of the different fields, it gives some guidance of what you can put in there. So in particular, this would be things like whether this is the core or shell-related part of Symphony, so you can add that as a component, or the widget library that you've seen the bug, which release you found it in. The priorities we'd like you to use are blocker, major, and minor. This is mainly so that it's a little bit more subjective, so that after the Symphony team has the bug and is reviewing it, we can use P1 through P4 in our own internal processes. So when you're describing the issue, we'd like to know what product is this for, what is this product's target release and date. This will help us schedule when we can get this fixed to you. A contact person who doesn't have to be the person who's reporting the CR, but it will be the one who will be working with to get more information or to communicate back and forth. The Symphony build number, if you know that, for where the issue was found, this helps us really locate where it's at. And some explicit reproduction steps so that we can get to the heart of the issue. And if you happen to know, you can mention if you've seen this in other scenarios, so we can see if this is more of a general issue or very specific to one case. And also, if it is a regression, you can let us know if you are aware of which Symphony build it was last working with. Once you get those details put in there, you can assign it to myself, attach any screenshots or email threads that are applicable to the bug, and also explicitly mention if it is a regression or not in that field. Once you've submitted the bug, we'll be notified about it on our side, and we'll review it and see what the next steps will be. And what we'll do is we'll communicate what we'll commit to for this bug to the contact person mentioned in the CR. And we'll let you know within a week what the ETA of the fix would be. However, if you do mention that it is a blocker priority for the issue, we will just have a blanket statement of an ETA of 3 days for a fix. When it comes time to implementing the fix, it'll be assigned to a Symphony team member, and they'll work on it within the time frame that we've communicated to the contact person. Once it's done, we'll notify the contact person, again, of the certified build number so that they know where they can grab that fix and bring it into their application. And then we'll resolve and reassign the issue back to the contact person to verify and finish off. And for issues with the blocker priority, we'll communicate the next uncertified build number. That way you can be unblocked sooner rather than waiting until we have the certified build. We can still let you know when that happens, but to unblock you sooner, we'll let you know when it's at least part of the Symphony build. For requesting a feature, the process is pretty similar, where only the details have changed for the most part. The first step before even creating the issue would be if the feature has a UX impact, you can talk with the Symphony UX team, particularly Atai Cran, and discuss with him about the feature. You know, is this something that should be added to the platform? Is it reusable? Is it, is it something that we can build upon and other teams can really benefit from? And as that goes back and forth, there might be a few iterations of this. We'll get to a point where UX has approved it and we're ready to move forward with the feature itself. So similarly to the bug request, there's a document for how to submit a Symphony feature request where it's the same type of approach. There's a template for JIRA that you can use. In this case, we'd be, again, using the Symphony project, and the issue type would be a story. I didn't mention this in the other one. Let me pop back to that. There's an Epic link here that helps us group the different requests together so we can evaluate them. For submitting a bug report, there's an Epic link here that you can put in your bug issue so that it gets grouped under a consumer issues epic. Similarly, for when we are requesting a feature, there's a feature request epic that can be linked here. Again, in the description, we would have the product name, the target release and date to help us schedule the feature, the contact person. You can mention if this is an enhancement of an existing feature. Also, you can provide some detailed use cases and examples, and I know that a lot of times use cases evolve as the feature is used. So up front, you can provide as many use cases as you currently know about. Additional use cases we can bring up in a subsequent story that would follow the same process, and we would say it is an enhancement of the existing feature that we're working on. The other important thing about these use cases is it helps us use them as acceptance criteria to know that we've fully completed what you would like in the feature. You can mention that it's approved by the Archipelago UX team if it is applicable, as for the first step that I mentioned. And also whether you are willing or ready, if you happen to have the feature, to contribute to the Symphony platform. And I'll talk about that in the next step. And finally, any additional details you need. Similarly, assign it to myself, set the component appropriately in the priority to blocker, major, or minor, story type to enhancement, and attach any UX or visual design specifications that you have if applicable to the feature. Again, once that issue is created in JIRA, we'll be notified about it, and we can evaluate what those next steps will be. What we will do is let the contact person know within a week, first of all, if the feature can be implemented within the requested time frame, and if so, what the Symphony release would be that we will work to put it inside of. When we get to implementing it, we're going to assign a champion to the Symphony consumer. So this champion will be the one who will be the contact person on our side to go through the implementation of this feature, answer questions, get clarification, and so forth. And in particular, you'll notice we're saying the Symphony consumer will be assigned a champion as compared to just the feature itself. This is so that this Symphony team member can work more closely with this consumer on other issues as well and have kind of a consistent face for that consumer in getting what they need from the Symphony platform. And finally, again, we'll communicate when the feature is completed, the certified build number that the issue can be found in, and likewise, for blocker priorities, we'll communicate the uncertified build number. Now let's say that you are willing to contribute to the Symphony platform. Again, we would begin with working with the UX team to clarify the features, reusability, and what would be needed to match it with the archipelago design patterns. And you'd again create the JIRA issue as I showed before, only this time you'd mention that, yes, I am willing to contribute to the Symphony platform. At this point, we'll be notified of the issue, and then we can begin working with you in what it would mean to contribute to the Symphony platform. One of these first steps would be ensuring that the prerequisite knowledge is known in order to contribute effectively to the platform. This would be things like making sure that you know jQuery and the code that's used by Symphony, how we structure it, what the strategy we're using, if we're using an underlying widget that we're wrapping around, how the Symphony build works if that's applicable, and so forth. Then when it comes to implementing the feature, again, the Symphony consumer will be assigned a team member from the Symphony team to be their champion for the request, and they'll coordinate with the contact person to answer questions, to collaborate, to do code reviews, as we see in the next step, for when the changes are ready to be submitted. And I'll clarify that these changes can be submitted iteratively. It does not need to be just when the feature is completed. But when it's time to submit the changes, the champion for that consumer will be the one to review the changes and monitor the build once they're submitted so that we're making sure that everything goes through fine. And we really want this close connection between the champion and the Symphony consumer, because not only do we want it to be, as painless as possible for contributing to the Symphony platform, but even if it comes to the case where the Symphony consumer is not able to bring the feature to completion, we have someone on the Symphony team who can step up and implement what is remaining because they have good context and domain knowledge of what is required for the feature. So why contribute to the Symphony platform? Well, in the past years, I've gone to the Global Leadership Summit, and the leader of this leadership conference is Bill Hybels, and he regularly says, everyone wins when leaders get better. But I'll say in this case, everyone wins when the Symphony platform gets better. Because in this case, not only are you bringing something into a platform where other teams are going to be able to benefit from it, it's bringing them to completion sooner and to a higher quality. It's making it so that everything that the Symphony platform can be is not just limited to the Symphony team itself. It's a bigger picture goal where even the consumers are benefiting from the platform, but building into the platform to make it an even better foundation for their web application and other web applications in the future. And it's a one team, one dream. We're all in this together, so let's help each other to make our Informatica web applications be the best they can be. So next I'm going to walk through the enhanced widget library and give some information about what we've worked on for the Symphony 3.1 release and what you can be looking forward to when it comes out.
So Matt, let's give everybody a couple of minutes to see if they have any questions.
Sure.
Any questions?
This is Itai. Just one comment about the feature requests and the discussions that need to take place with UX and get the designs done. We will need to define also who's providing these specs and in which timelines. But that was something that I think is still missing from the flow here, which we'll need to add to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you said that's a tie?
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, we can add that communication in there as well. During that first step, when you're working with the tie in this, provide who's working with the UX on the Symphony consumer side, and anything that's just needed to enhance that communication. Are there any other questions about the processes?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
Omar from Tel Aviv. Is this session is recorded if I want to later watch the process?
Yes, the presentation right now is being recorded, and the Confluence documents by the end of today will have all the same information that's in the slides for the steps and the JIRA template and everything you need for it.
You're going to publish, previous videos were published in Dolphin under videos. Will this video will be published there too?
Yes.
Great, because it's important, the process with JIRA is very important for operation, and when new developers join the program, it's important that they have a single source of knowledge how to cooperate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so, shall I move on to the widget library?
Go ahead, Matt.
All right. So I'll walk through the widgets that you may have been using or have seen in the Dolphin showcase for the widget guide, and then walk through some of the new widgets that we're working on for 3.1 release. So for updated widgets, walking through we have a breadcrumb. All of these, let me clarify, unless they're otherwise stated, they're available now for use. If they aren't available at all for use right now, there will be a mention, and any of them that say they have an Angular wrapper around them, those will be available by the end of this month. So here we have the breadcrumb. It's been updated for Archipelago spec. The button widget that we've recently rewritten it from scratch to provide some better functionality and support, and even added the emphasize button state that gives you the full blue button, which is especially helpful in a number of these scenarios rather than requiring you to add the styles onto it to achieve that. Also, the checkbox and date picker widgets have been updated for the Archipelago spec. And the button and checkbox will have an Angular wrapper added to them. InfoGrid, if you've been using this for editable grids, this has also been updated so it's matching the visual designs that you'll need. Also, InfoDialog as well, and also includes the ability to maximize and minimize. InfoForm, we've even rewritten this one from scratch as well to use a template-based implementation and really make it so it's more supportable and easier to add things in for you. This also will have an Angular wrapper provided for it. So InfoGrid, we have updated it so it's matching the visual designs needed for tables. But I'll show you later, we have what we'll consider the official table widget for the Archipelago Symphony web applications called InfoTable. If you're currently using InfoGrid in your web applications, you do not have to switch now. We've made we've made what's needed to be done to match the Archipelago visual designs in InfoGrid. So whatever you already have using InfoGrid can stay for now. However, we have made the InfoTable API designed to mirror the InfoGrid API so that it facilitates migrating from InfoGrid to InfoTable when you're ready to make that change. if you are starting from scratch with your web application, we'd ask that you favor InfoTable over InfoGrid for the tables that you'll be doing. There's just a lot more functionality that we're breathing into InfoTable, and it will be the one that we'll be primarily supporting moving forward. We also have InfoList Shuttle and InfoMenu, where the menu will have an Angular wrapper added to it, and it provides the a button with the menu or a context menu is added. And the List Shuttle, just to mention, we've updated the API so that it uses a data provider, so that it's consistent with the API kind of strategy we've seen in other widgets to provide a data provider for the information displayed. Also, there's the radio groups, which will have an Angular wrapper, Info tabs, the Info tooltip, and Info tree, which also will have an Angular wrapper added to it. So the Info radio group is available now. The only thing that remains to be done soon is just to apply to the Archipelago visual design.
Can I ask a question?
Say that again?
Can I ask something?
Sure, go ahead.
Can you clarify what is available for Symphony versus Symphony Next, meaning what's already Angularized and what is not, and if not, when it's going to be Angularized?
So let me see if I heard you correctly. You're wondering what the difference is between Symphony and Symphony Next, especially in regards to what's Angularized?
Yeah, we want to know regarding the widgets that you're presenting. We want to know if an Angularized version is available right now, and like for example, Info tabs. Why didn't you write Angular wrapper next to it? Because it's not yet Angularized, but it is going to be.
No, the ones that are marked as with the Angular wrapper are ones that we are going to be wrapping for the 3.1 release. Info tabs, as far as has been communicated to me, is not been requested for an Angular wrapper. Amit, can you comment on that?
Hi. So what we have done here is we have, in the interest of time and capacity that the team has, we have picked some of the important widgets, and we will provide an Angular directive for these widgets by end of this month, which is in the 3.1 release. That won't be the end of everything Angular that Symphony will provide. We'll continue working on more widgets and wrapping more widgets in Angular. But what you are seeing here is basically everything Symphony Next and what we are committing for 3.1, which is basically the end of this month.
So if Angular wrapper is indicated, it means that there will be an Angular wrapper for 3.1.
Yes, that's what it means.
Yeah, this is mainly focused on.
I am currently, but 3.1 is out. I'm currently working with 3.1.
It's in progress. The actual release for 3.1 is end of this month.
Oh, that's why it's under main directory. It's not 3.1.
Yes, that's why it's under main directory. That is correct.
Oh, yeah.
So when 3.1 is complete, so main will be 3.1.
So we'll branch off main to a 3.1 directory.
Yeah.
So you will see when that happens. That will be the actual release, 3.1 release. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll just repeat what you said to be sure I understand that. Angular wrapper indication means that it's going to be ready for 3.1 release, which is the end of September.
Correct, end of September, yes.
Great.
Yeah, so any of these that mention specifically an Angular wrapper are just saying that we are committing to this for 3.1. It doesn't mean we're done with Angular directives for the widgets. It just means this is what we have scoped for 3.1, and we'll be taking into account, what are the next widgets to add Angular directives for in subsequent releases.
Okay.
And if you have one in particular that you really want, it would be a great opportunity to use the Symphony feature request process and let us know. Because that's another thing. By using the feature request process, it helps us know really what our consumers are needing and helps us know how to scope those into the next release.
Yes. Okay.
So any other questions before I move on? All right. The last one of widgets that have been available that we've updated is the wizard, matching the visual design and just making it everything you'd need for wizards. Next are some of the widgets that we are now making available, whether we've used them internally or we're creating them specifically for consumer use. So I'll walk through what we have here. The biggest is what I mentioned before, InfoTable, which will also have an Angular directive created for it. So InfoTable is your one-stop shop for all table needs. This is one where you have the pagination, sorting. It has finding and filtering, including being able to save filters for later use. It'll have row and cell level editing, depending on what you need, and support different row heights for, whether the user wants to see a lot of data on the screen or have more of a comfortable view like what's shown right now. And these different features, you can turn them on and off as needed. And we're really putting a lot of effort into making this everything you would need for a table, so that anytime you would have used InfoGrid, this would be a superior choice for it. Also, we'll be creating InfoSelect, which is a drop-down that supports being able to type into a bar if there's more than a certain number of elements in this drop-down, so that you can quickly search through and find what you need. It'll also support multiple selections. Then there's also a switch widget where we have this as a stretch goal of being able to provide an alternative Boolean representation to checkboxes. One place this could be useful would be if you have values in a grid and you are using checkboxes for the actual selection of rows, it might be more clear to the user to have any Boolean editable values represented with switches rather than checkboxes, just so that the checkbox selection on the left can be very clear in its purpose. And also the bubble message. This is a little thing that pops down with some information, and you can change some of the colors and the icons in there to express, for example, like we see here, saving an object and that the save was successful, or if there's some errors, it can pop down and give some more clarification about this. This is something we already use in Symphony, but we'll make it available as a function call for consumers. So as you can see with this, InfoSelect is going to be available by the end of the month, as well as the bubble message will be exposed and documented soon. And then if we have time before the end of the 3.1 release, we'd like to get the switch widget out there for you. So that's a run through in what to expect for the widgets that will be available for you in 3.1. So now, are there any questions about either the widget library or even going back to the processes?
This is Stefan from the MDM R&D team. So I have two questions. One is, I'm assuming most of the widgets that you just presented are already existing today. So the question would be, how can I try them out? Is there some kind of documentation, or is it the Sonata app I have to check, or what are the possibilities?
So if you want to specifically try the widgets out just to play around with them, you can go to Dolphin. Let me bring this up so I can show you. So if you go to http://dolphin, this will take you to the Symphony Next documentation page. And under the API guide, the widgets that I mentioned in here have been specifically updated for 3.1 to match the Archipelago visual design and provide some new features. So you can use some of these to start playing around with these. Like if you go to info button, we have some demos down here where you can see what's it look like, and what if I want to change labels and such. So you can not only play around with them, you can view the API that's available for them. And if you really want to have a little bit more control in trying each of these things out, you can take what's available here, and we will be adding this soon. We have it in the previous Dolphin instances, but what we'd like to have it in here is a Symphony Fiddle instance, which is like, I don't know if you've used JS Fiddle before, where you can put in some code and then be able to execute it and run it, make some changes to the code, execute it and run it. And it's been a very valuable tool, even for the Symphony team, to be able to address issues that are found in widgets. That's one of the great things when we have it added into Dolphin here, for when submitting a bug request or bug report, you can try it out and fiddle and see, like, hey, here's some code that will reproduce it every time, and we go from there. But likewise, you can use this Symphony Fiddle to be able to add or be able to execute this code, make some changes, and really get some detailed investigation.
So will that be available for the Angular versions as well?
I'm not sure if we'd have that for Angular just yet. You mean the showcase part or the fiddle part?
Actually, I was really more thinking about the documentation for the Angular widgets, right? So what are the directives and what are the parameters I have to use?
Yeah, I believe that's tracked for the work for implementing the Angular wrappers is to also provide the documentation, of course, so that you would know how to make use of it.
Okay. So would be good if that would be part of the Angular documentation. I mean, there's a section on the left, but okay. And the second question I have is about consuming the library. I think there was somewhere a note saying that it is planned to install a Bower registry, which can be used to consume Symphony. Is there anything new on that? Any concrete plans?
Well, we had investigated that thing, making Symphony available as a Bower component. The only issue is that it would mean uploading Symphony itself to external servers outside of Informatica, and so we'd be basically uploading proprietary information. So we won't have Symphony as a Bower component, but we try to make it as simple as possible to provide the distributables for what you would need for your web application.
So you're saying it has been investigated, but no concrete plans for that?
It's been investigated, but decided against because of proprietary exposure to Symphony by uploading it to an external source.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
All right, any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
We need an ability to launch the overlay with the progress icon. And I asked the team if you have one, and I was told that Symphony has some jQuery functions, jQuery widget to do it, but it's not ready for Angular. Is there anything new about it? Should I open a feature request for it?
So let me see. You're asking about an overlay.
Need a, when you make a request for the backend server, you want to block the screen. So you
okay, like showing loading dialog.
Yes, an overlay with and the centered GIF that's rotating. So
that's already available. It should be available as part of the Angular Symphony as well. It doesn't require any API because the Symphony will provide it out of the box. However, I think what you are talking about, the API, that jQuery API that we provide, is it's called $.block. So probably, I think that's what we need. Just provide you a simple Angular hook to just redirect you to that API. Jesse, are you on the phone?
Yes.
So is that something we can do?
Yeah, of course. But I think we discussed that what we want to wrap around Angular, what we don't, because this is just a simple function call, right?
Okay, so can you work with, who was it, Omer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you work with Omer and, give them a path, so that at least they are not blocked on this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions? So that's all I have. I hope this has been informative for you, and feel free to ask me any questions afterwards if you have any need for clarification, walking through the bug reporting, feature requests, or the enhanced widget library, and I can work with you from there. So thank you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I hope this was informative, and I know this was kind of overdue. But I hope we are not too late, and you can still use this information to plan your projects and efforts going forward. Again, any feedback or any questions you have, reach out to me, reach out to Matt anytime, and then we'll try to respond in a timely manner. For the process, we'll publish all the information you need, so you don't have to really remember everything that was discussed here. Even for the strategy for widget library, we'll try to, I know there weren't a lot of words in there because we wanted to talk more about it rather than just put the words on the slides, but we'll try to put all the information onto Dolphin so you can refer it back for your later use. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.